Hi, welcome back to the PhotoshopTrainingChannel.com. I'm Jesus Ramirez. In this video, I'm going to show you several techniques to create highly realistic shadows in Photoshop. As always, this is going to be an information-packed tutorial, so make sure that you stick around into the very end of the video so that you don't miss a thing. If you want to follow along with me, then you can click on the tutorial images link below in the description. Let's jump right into today's tutorial. This is the document that we're going to work with. It contains 3 layers. We have a background and a highlights layer that will help our composite just feel a little more realistic. It's not perfect, but it will help us get the results that we want in this tutorial. And let me first show you what most people show in Photoshop tutorials when teaching how to create a shadow. Basically, they ask you to create a layer below the main subject, in this case, our action star. And by the way, here's a trick for you. If you hold Control on Windows, Command on the Mac, and click on the new layer mask icon, you'll create a layer below your currently selected layer. And I'll rename this layer to Shadow so that I know what it is. And after this point, usually the instruction is to fill with black. Black is currently my foreground color, so I can fill with black by pressing Alt and Backspace, Option Backspace on the Mac. And from this point, most tutorials will tell you to transform the selection, but first I need to deselect. So I'll press Ctrl D on Windows, Command D on the Mac. Then press Ctrl T to transform, that's Command T on the Mac. And right click and select Flip Vertical. And click and drag down until the shadow matches her foot. Basically, this is what most people tell you to do, and this has a lot of problems. First of all, if you simply select black as the shadow color, you're not going to get realistic shadows because shadows are not black. If you look at any photo, the shadows always have a little bit of color. You can, for example, zoom in into this photo, into the shadows, and select one of the shadows with the eyedropper tool, and you'll see that there is a little bit of blue in there. Even the ones here on the ground have a little bit of brown in them. The sand back here also has a bit of color. No matter what you select, there's always a bit of color in the shadow. So never really true black. So you would need to fix that. Another issue with doing what I just showed is that the feet are not touching the shadow as they should be in the real world. So that becomes a problem. And the third problem that we have is that the shadow is not following the perspective of the scene, so it doesn't look realistic. And I often see a lot of people using this technique or a variation of it to create shadows. Let me know in the comments if you've seen something like this in the past. Obviously, this doesn't look very realistic. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can fix the issues that I just described to create more realistic shadows. So, I'm still going to work with that same shadow layer. It's actually not a bad idea to start the way that we started, but I'm going to now adjust it. And I should probably mention that in some cases, I'll make extreme adjustments for the purposes of the tutorial, and I probably wouldn't do certain things in a real project, but I just want to make things easy to see for you. And the first thing that I'm going to do is work with the color. So I'm going to select one of the darker shadows here, like maybe that dark blue there. I'll press OK, and here's another keyboard shortcut that you probably don't know. If you hold Alt-Shift and tap on the backspace key on Windows, that's Option-Shift-Delete on the Mac, you'll fill with the foreground color, but only on opaque pixels. In other words, pixels that are not transparent. And actually, I've already filled the layer, so let me zoom in so that you can see the result. I'll undo so you can see the difference before and after. Once again, the keyboard shortcut for that is Alt-Shift and Backspace, Option-Shift-Delete on the Mac to fill with the foreground color only on opaque pixels. But anyway, so now that I have that color on there, I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply and then bring down the opacity just a little bit, like so. The shadow's too sharp right now, and I will need to blur it, but we will worry about that in a later step. First, let's work on the shadow's perspective so that it matches our scene. I'll start by selecting the Move tool and pressing Ctrl T on Windows, Command T on the Mac to transform the layer. Then right-click and select Perspective. And I'm going to zoom out by holding Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, and scroll down on my mouse wheel and click and drag on this quarter handle and drag to the left. And you can see now how the perspective is more closely resembling the perspective in the scene. So I can place that right about here. And I'm also using the lines that you see here on the ground with these tiles. They create these converging lines that go into the vanishing point. So I'm actually using those same lines to try to match the shadows in my scenes so that the perspective of the shadow matches the perspective in the composite. When you're done, you can click on the check mark to commit the changes. So now we fixed the color, the perspective, and now we have to make sure that the shadow is touching the elements in the scene, for example, her feet. And one of the easiest ways to make this work is to use the Puppet Warp tool. You can go into Edit, select Puppet Warp. That will place a mesh over your image. I don't always like using the mesh, so I'll disable it by clicking on this checkbox in the options bar. Next, you can create these pins by simply clicking over the image. These pins will allow you to distort the pixels in this layer. And I'm going to create several pins that will also hold it down so that they don't move when I make an adjustment. So let me zoom in so that I can show you what I'm doing. So with this point selected, I'm just going to click and drag it over onto her foot, like so. Make sure that it touches. And then if I want the heel to also touch, I can hold Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, and I get this circular overlay. And I can click and drag to rotate it like so. And then I'll click and drag back up like this. Maybe drag a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Then if I need to, I can work on this foot. Maybe I need to rotate it as well, just a tiny little bit, just so that it matches as best as possible. And you can also create another point on this side and then control it if need be. Totally up to you. In this case, I think that this is looking pretty good. This foot is not actually on the ground. She's standing on her toes with her left foot, the one on our right side. So this side doesn't need to be touching because that's not really what's going on. So the shadow should be more or less right in this area. So that looks pretty good. I'll click on the check mark to commit the changes. Then I'll double click on the hand tool to fit the image to screen. And that looks much, much better. What I'll do now is I'll blur the shadow. So I'll go into Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and just give it an appropriate blur for the composite. In this case, maybe we'll go with 3 pixels. That seems to work okay. And what I'll do now is create another shadow below our shadow layer, or it could be above. It doesn't have to be below, but I'm going to do it below. And I'm going to use the same blue that I used earlier, the same dark blue. And what I'm going to do is create my contact shadow. So there's always a shadow that is darker where the object is making contact with the surface. By the way, I'm tapping on the left bracket key to reduce my brush size. And I'm just going to click and paint these shadows like so, just where they're making contact with the surface. By the way, in Photoshop 2020 and newer, you can use the tilde key. That's the key to the left of the keyboard under the escape key. And you can use that key to erase with the currently selective brush. So I'll use that. In older versions of Photoshop, you're going to have to go into the eraser tool, or an alternative will be to change the blending mode from normal to clear, and then you can erase with the brush that you're currently using. So now that I have my contact shadow there, I'll move on to the other foot by holding the space bar and clicking and dragging to pan. And then I'll create my contact shadows here, like so. And maybe I'll blur these as well. I'll go into Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and blur them as well, like so. And I can just call this layer Contact Shadow. And I'll double click on the hand tool to fit the image to screen. The image is looking much, much better. What I'll do now is select the shadow layer, click on the layer mask icon to make a layer mask. Then I'll go into the gradient tool, make sure that I have black to white selected. Then make sure that you have reverse unchecked. And you can come to the bottom of the canvas, click and drag up while holding Shift to create a straight line, and you'll create that effect that you see there. You could also unlink the layer mask from the layer, and with the Move tool, you can click and drag on the mask and adjust it accordingly. You can also click and drag on this handle and control that shadow like so. So in this case, I'll make it pretty tall and click and drag down like so. and you can obviously adjust the opacity accordingly. And at this point, all you need to do is fine tune the image. I think that the shadow's still a little sharp, so I'm going to go back into that shadow layer and go into filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and just blur it just a tiny bit more, maybe 2 pixels, and press OK. I think that this looks very good. What do you think? Make sure that you let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you enjoy this tutorial, make sure to check out my video on matching a subject to a background. It's a complete step-by-step tutorial on compositing. I'll place the link in the description. Also, if this is your first time at the Photoshop training channel, then make sure that you don't forget to click on that subscribe and notification buttons. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again in the next Photoshop tutorial.